What's up? It's Richie here with Statifying Football. This is week one for the NFL games. I'm getting back into that this year. So let's start off on a Sunday. You got the Philadelphia Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons. Philadelphia was 24th in total offense last year, 19th in total defense last year. Jalen Hurts back at quarterback, 1,061 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks, 354 rushing, and 3 touchdowns last year. Miles Sanders back, 867 rushing, 6 touchdowns. Tight end Dallas Goddard, 46 catches, 524, 3 touchdowns. Their returning linebacker Alex Singleton had 120 tackles. Defensive end Brandon Graham had 8 sacks. They have a new head coach and Nick Sirianni. Facing the Falcons, who were 17th in total offense last year, 5th in passing offense, but at the bottom of the league in the defensive categories, basically. Matt Ryan's back, though, 4,581 yards, 26 touchdowns, 11 picks. Calvin Ridley, 90 catches, 1,374 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Linebacker Foyesaya Olakan, 117 tackles. Deion Jones, 106 tackles and 4.5 sacks. They also have a new head coach in Arthur Smith. I'm going to give this game to the Falcons, though, just because Matt Ryan is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, so they have a slight edge there. A pretty big game early on. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills, both possible Super Bowl contenders this year. Pittsburgh, they're kind of low in offense last year, but the number 3 overall in scoring defense in the league last year. Ben Roethlisberger, 3,803 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 10 picks. He's coming back. Deontay Johnson, 88 catches, 923, and 7 touchdowns. Safety Minkah Fitzpatrick had only 79 tackles, led their team with 4 interceptions. TJ Watt had 15 sacks, and Stephon Tuitt had 11 sacks. They're facing the Bills, who were 2nd overall in scoring, and they were 14th in total defense. Josh Allen, 4,544 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, plus 421 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 127 catches last year, 1,535 yards, 8 touchdowns. And safety Jordan Poyer, 124 tackles. Linebacker Tremaine Edmonds, 119 tackles. I'm still not sold on Josh Allen. He did much better last year than I thought he would do. It's just he still kind of holds on the ball a little bit too long, makes the mistakes late in the game that he's got to get past. He still has to prove something to me personally. I'm actually going to go with the Steelers to win this game, but it'll be a really close game, a really fun game. It'll come right down to the end, but I think Roethlisberger and the Steelers are the ones that will get it done. All right, Minnesota Vikings and the Bengals. Vikings, they were actually 4th in total offense last year, but they were in the bottom of the league in defense. Kirk Cousins, 4,265 yards passing, 35 touchdowns to 13 picks. Dalvin Cook ran for 1,557 yards and 16 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 88 catches, 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns. Linebacker Eric Kendrick, 107 tackles, and safety Harrison Smith had 5 interceptions last year. Cincinnati, they were in the bottom in the league on offense and defense. Joe Burrow, though, had a decent rookie year, 2,688, 13 touchdowns, 5 picks. Safety Von Bell had 114 tackles. Safety Jesse Bates III had 109 tackles. I'm going to say Minnesota gets this on. Kirk Cousins, I think, is an underrated quarterback, but Dalvin Cook is one of the best running backs in the league. And Justin Jefferson proved, I think as a rookie last year, was phenomenal. And I think they'll have a little bit too much for the Bengals to keep up with in this game. All right, San Francisco and Detroit. Even though San Francisco they kind of fell back last year, they had a ton of injuries. Their starting quarterback, defensive end, I think running back, receiver, basically everybody for San Francisco that was good got hurt. Yet they still had one of the best defenses in the league, 5th overall. Jimmy Garoppolo only played a little bit, 1,096 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 picks. Linebacker Fred Warner had 125 tackles. In Detroit, they have a new head coach in Dan Campbell. They made a trade for Jared Goff at quarterback now from the Rams. And last year with the Rams, he was still fine. 3,952, 20 touchdowns, 13 picks. Linebacker Jamie Collins, 101 tackles. And Romeo Okwara had 10 sacks to lead that team. Detroit, they were 10th in passing offense last year, but they were basically last in scoring defense and total defense. I think San Francisco bounces back this year and should be a playoff team. I think the defense might be a little too much for Detroit, and Garoppolo should be just enough of a steady hand with all the basically their injured players back on offense. So I'm going to go San Francisco winning that one. All right, Arizona and Tennessee. This could be a pretty interesting matchup. Arizona, they're number 6 total offense last year, and the number 12 scoring defense last year. So kind of a solid team overall. Kyler Murray, 3,971 passing yards, 26 touchdowns to 12 hits, and added 819 rushing yards on 11 touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins, 115 catches, 1,407 yards, 6 touchdowns. Safety Budda Baker led the team with 118 tackles. Tennessee, I think they did make the playoffs last year. They have a new head coach, though, David Culley. They were 3rd in total offense last year, but 28th in total defense. Ryan Tannehill, 3,819 yards, 33 touchdowns, only 7 picks, and added 7 rushing touchdowns. Derrick Henry had the, 8th 2,000-yard rushing season in NFL history with 2,027 and 17 rushing touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 70 catches, 1,075 yards, and 11 touchdowns. And safety Kevin Byard led the team with 111 tackles. This will be a really, really close game. A potential Super Bowl preview, maybe, if both teams can get it going, because the Titans did. They went 11-5 last year. They made the playoffs. Arizona, they just missed the playoffs, but they have one of the better. Kyler Murray's maybe the best dual threat quarterback in the league. So both teams could potentially make the playoffs, maybe Super Bowl contenders. I'm gonna go Arizona with a slight edge here. Tennessee, they have a new head coach. Arizona, they're kind of solidified right now. So I'm gonna go Arizona with a slight edge in a win there, but that should be a really, really close game. Another really good game, again, another possible Super Bowl preview. Seattle Seahawks against the Indianapolis Colts. Seattle, they were 8th in scoring offense and 5th in run defense last year. Russell Wilson, 4,212 yards. Quietly, he also had 40 touchdown passes last year and added 513 rushing yards. DK Metcalf, 83 catches, 1,330 yards, 10 touchdowns, and Tyler Lockett had 100 catches for 1,054 and 10 touchdowns. Linebacker Bobby Wagner led the team with 138 tackles. Safety Jamal Adams actually had 9.5 sacks, and Quandre Diggs had 5 interceptions. The Colts, they were 10th in total offense last year, 9th in scoring, and 10th in scoring defense. Now, Phillip Rivers did retire, so Jacob Eason will take over, or should take over at quarterback. But they have a really good running back in Jonathan Taylor, who has a rookie ran for 1,169 yards and 11 touchdowns. Linebacker Darius Leonard, 132 tackles, and DeForest Buckner led the team with 9.5 sacks. This will be an interesting game. Seattle, actually both teams, you normally pretty good on offense and defense, usually top 10 or so offensively and defensively. But Russell Wilson, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, he'll be the difference maker in this one with the edge there. So Seattle wins that one. All right, the LA Chargers and the Washington football team. The Chargers, they have a new head coach in Brandon Staley. They were actually 6th in passing offense and 9th in total offense last year and 10th in total defense. Justin Herbert, one of the best rookie years ever. 4,336 yards, 31 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. Linebacker Kenneth Murray led the team with 107 tackles. Facing against a Washington football team that had one of the best defenses in the league. They were 2nd in total defense and 4th in scoring defense, but they were one of the worst offenses in the league, 30th in total offense. They still only finished 7-9, which was good enough to win their division and make the playoffs last year. If they can improve on offense even a little bit, just to like 20, they could be a legitimate Super Bowl contender with that defense. Quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think, should start. We'll see who they go with there. Terry McLaurin, though, had a really good year receiving, 87 catches, 1,118 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Linebacker John Bostic, 118 tackles, and Montez Sweat had 9 sacks. I think this first game, though, I'm going to go with the Chargers here. Washington does have a bit of a better defense than the Chargers, but the Chargers have a better offense, and we'll see how Washington does offensively in the first game. So we'll see with that, but I'm going to go with the Chargers to win that one. All right, the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers. The Jets, they have a new head coach in Robert Saleh. They were last in the league in total offense. They were 24th in total defense. They have a new quarterback. Zach Wilson probably should start. He'll be their rookie quarterback facing the Panthers. And against their old quarterback, Sam Darnold, he should start for the Panthers. Last year, though, with the Jets, Sam Darnold threw for 2,208, 9 touchdowns, 11 picks. DJ Moore, though, and Robbie Anderson, they should be both back for the Panthers. Both had 1,000 yards receiving last year. DJ Moore, 66 catches, 1,193 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And Robbie Anderson, 95 catches, 1,096 yards. Safety Jeremy Chin, 117 tackles. Linebacker Shaq Thompson, 113 tackles. And defensive end Brian Burns with 9 sacks. I'm going to go with Carolina here. They do have a better overall team than the Jets right now. The Jets starting over at quarterback and with a new head coach. So I'm going to go Carolina to get a win there. All right, Jacksonville and Houston will be interesting. They have both teams have new head coaches here. Oh, I said earlier with the Titans. Both teams have new head coaches. Jacksonville is Urban Meyer. Houston head coach David Culley. Urban Meyer the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were 28th in total offense last year, 31st in scoring defense, one of the worst teams in the league. They have new quarterback Trevor Lawrence, should be starting from day one. James Robinson had a nice year last year with 1,070 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. Linebacker Joe Schobert, 141 tackles, and Miles Jack, 118 tackles. Houston, they actually have the new head coach with David Culley, and they were 13th in total offense last year with 30th in defense. Quarterback Tyler Taylor was named their starter. Brandon Cooks, though, a really good receiver, 81 catches, 1,115 yards, 6 touchdown receptions. Zach Cunningham led the team with 164 tackles there. I'm actually going to go Jacksonville here. I think Urban Meyer, we'll see how he does in the NFL. But both teams have new head coaches. One has a journeyman, a good starter quarterback, Tyler Taylor, one starting with a rookie. But I'm still going to go Jacksonville with a slight edge there. All right, the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. Cleveland was 3rd in rushing offense last year and 9th in rushing defense. Baker Mayfield, 3,563 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 picks. Nick Chubb ran for 1,067 yards and 12 touchdowns. Defensive end Myles Garrett had 12 sacks last year. KC, they should be a Super Bowl contender again. They were number 1 in total offense, 6th in scoring offense. Pat Mahomes, 4,740 yards, 38 touchdowns to 6 picks. Tight end Travis Kelce, 105 catches, 1,416 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Wide receiver Tyreek Hill, 87 catches, 1,276 yards, and 15 touchdowns. And safety Tyrann Mathieu had 6 interceptions. This could be a pretty high-scoring game. Both offenses can get it going, but I think Kansas City will be too much for Cleveland to handle. All right, you got the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. Miami, they were 15th in scoring offense and 6th in scoring defense last year. Tua Tagovailoa, 1,814 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 picks. Linebacker Jerome Baker, 112 tackles. Emmanuel Ogbah had 9 sacks. And cornerback Xavier Howard led the league with 10 interceptions last year. The Patriots, they were bottom of the league in offense, but they were actually one of the better teams in the league in defense. They were 7th in scoring defense. They got rid of Cam Newton and Brian Hoyer. They're starting over with rookie quarterback Mac Jones and their cornerback J.C. Jackson. He was second in the league with 9 interceptions there. Miami, I know, is a playoff team. I think New England bounces back. It's still Bill Belichick. I think New England wins this game against Miami. All right, Green Bay, New Orleans. Green Bay, one of the best teams in the league last year. 5th in total offense, number 1 scoring offense, and 9th in total defense. Aaron Rodgers, 4,299 yards, 48 touchdown passes, only 5 interceptions. Aaron Jones ran for 1,104 yards and 9 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 115 receptions, 1,374 yards, and 18 touchdown receptions. Darius Smith led the team with 12.5 sacks. New Orleans Saints, they were 5th in scoring offense and 4th in scoring defense last year, but Drew Brees retired. They should be starting with Jameis Winston as a starter. Linebacker Damari Davis, 119 tackles. Alvin Kamara, one of the best, maybe the best Swiss, dual threat player in the league. He ran for 932 and 16 rushing touchdowns and had 83 catches for 756 yards and 5 touchdowns from his running back position. This should be it could be a high-scoring game back and forth. I still don't trust Jameis Winston. I still think he'll throw a bunch of interceptions and fumble and just play poorly. So I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers to win that game. All right, you got the Denver Broncos and the New York Giants. Denver, they should be... They had Drew Lock last year, passed for 2,933, 16 touchdowns, 15 picks. They do have Teddy Bridgewater from Carolina, who passed for 3,733 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 11 picks. I think they're going to start him. So they should be okay at quarterback there. Linebacker Alex Johnson had 124 tackles, Josie Jewell 112 tackles, and Justin Simmons had 5 interceptions. The Giants, they were bottom in the league in scoring. They have a decent defense. They were 9th in scoring defense. Daniel Jones, 2,943 passing, 11 touchdowns, 10 picks, plus 423 rushing. Linebacker Blake Martinez, 151 tackles, and defensive end Leonard Williams had 11.5 sacks. I think I still do kind of like Daniel Jones at quarterback for the Giants, but I think whoever they go at quarterback with for Denver, Drew Lock or Bridgewater, I think they will be better than Daniel Jones. So I'm going to go. And Denver, they normally have a pretty strong defense, so I'm going to go Denver in a close win here. All right, the Sunday night game, the Chicago Bears and the LA Rams. Chicago, they were 26th in total offense, but they were 11th in total defense. Andy Dalton's coming in from Dallas. I know they have quarterback Justin Field, but I think Andy Dalton at least will start. Last year with Dallas, filling in for Dak Prescott, he passed for 2,169, 14 touchdowns, 8 picks. The running back David Montgomery ran for 1,070 yards and 8 touchdowns. Wide receiver Allen Robinson II had 102 catches for 1,250 yards and 6 touchdowns. Linebacker Roquan Smith, 139 tackles. Linebacker Danny Trevathan, 112 tackles. And Khalil Mack had 9 sacks there. Against the LA Rams, who should be a Super Bowl contender, they were 11th in total offense last year and the number 1 scoring defense in the league. Actually, pretty much number 1 overall. They were first in total defense, first in pass defense, third in run defense, and number 1 in scoring. They traded for Matthew Stafford from Detroit. And last year with Detroit, Matthew passed for 4,084 yards and 26 touchdowns. Aaron Donald had 13.5 sacks, and Leonard Floyd had 10.5 sacks. I think this is, like I said, the Rams are a Super Bowl contender. If Chicago could get some offense, they have a decent enough defense normally that they can at least be a playoff team. But I think the Rams should be able to win this opener. Then you got the Monday night game with the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders. Baltimore, number 1 run offense last year, 7th in scoring. And the number 2 scoring defense last year. Again, another Super Bowl contender there. Lamar Jackson was all Lamar Jackson last year. 2,757 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, only 9 picks, and ran for 1,005 yards and 7 touchdowns. Linebacker Patrick Queen had 106 tackles for that defense. Where the Raiders, they were 10th in scoring offense, but 30th in scoring defense. They need to improve that if they want to be a playoff contender. Derek Carr last year, 4,103 yards, 27 touchdowns to 9 picks. Josh Jacobs ran for 1,065 yards and 12 touchdowns. And tight end Darren Waller, one of the best in the league, 107 catches, 1,196 yards, and 9 touchdowns. This would be kind of strength versus strength, though. You got a pretty good offense with the Raiders against one of the best defenses in the league in the Ravens. But Baltimore also has one of the better offenses in the league against a very poor defense in the Raiders. So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to win that one. So those are my picks for Week 1 NFL. Thanks for watching the video. Check out my college videos too later. Peace. Alright, so you got the Arizona Cardinals and the Tennessee Titans. Arizona was 6th in total offense, 13th in scoring offense last year, and 12th in scoring defense, so a pretty decent team overall. Kyler Murray, 3,971 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, only 12 picks, and ran for 819 yards and 11 touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins, 115 catches, 1,407 yards, and 6 touchdowns, and safety Buda Baker led the team with 118 tackles. Tennessee, they were a playoff team last year, potential Super Bowl contender. They were 3rd in total offense, 4th in scoring offense, but 28th in total defense. They got to improve that. Ryan Tannehill, though, did pass for 3,819 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 picks, plus 266 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. Derrick Henry became the 8th player in NFL history to rush for over 2,000 yards with 2,027 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns. A.J. Brown had 70 catches for 1,075 yards and 11 touchdowns, and safety Kevin Byard led the team with 111 tackles. I'm going to go with I'm kind of going to go off the edge a little bit here. I'm going to go with Arizona to get a very small, a very big win, but a small margin of victory, maybe by 1, 2, 3, 4 points or whatever. I think Kyler Murray maybe a little too much, unless Tennessee's defense can improve, maybe a little too much for them to handle. And I think Arizona should get that win there.